What's up, guys, and welcome back. Today is a very rainy, nasty, awful day. And you can't really enjoy fishing as much when it's just nasty out. Plus, with all the rain raising the water levels, it just makes fishing awful. So anyways, today I thought I'd take a little turn and do a video that's a little different, a little off pace here. And yeah, what we're going to be doing is taking a tour through the rod locker on my boat. What I'm going to be doing is going over the rods that I use, the rods I have set up for other people, and going over them, pros and cons I like about them. Not really a review video, but kind of a review video. Just kind of the rods I have and what I use them for. So anyways, I want you guys to hit the recline button on your chair if you've got it. If not, I hope you can get a nice recliner to sit in. We're going to sit back, relax, and talk about some fishing gear on this nasty, rainy day. Let's go. Now, first things first, I decided to go in an order of basically the rods I have. I'm going in order of when I've got them. I'm going to start off with my oldest rod. I've had this rod for a long time, this whole setup, and she's been great. And that's going to be this bad boy right here. Nice little spinning setup. Is a Shakespeare Ugly Stik Light. It's a 6.6 medium action rod. I don't know why they call it an Ugly Stik Light, but whatever. Anyways, it's a little breakaway rod, and I got that because I didn't have a truck at the time, and you just needed to break her down to haul her in the old car. I've had this rod for years. As you can see, she's taking a beating. The handle's kind of coming apart. You can see how just like worn and dirty the cork is on the handle. I've got it set up with a Garcia Cardinal S40 reel. It's actually been a pretty little decent reel. 5.1 to 1 gear ratio on this reel. Funny story about this whole rod and reel setup. I've had it for a long time, and I've caught everything from like panfish to double-digit weight, like carp and stuff like that, huge fish. And this little rod here has taken it and done its duty. It is way outperformed what I ever thought it would be doing, and I have to say, ever since I bought this little ugly stick here, I've always recommended them to everyone that I know that is in the market for a light rod or something small, because they are affordable and very, very durable. I love it. But anyways, this little rod here, like I said, it's caught huge fish, it's caught tiny fish. I almost lost it actually one time. A friend of mine and I were fishing at the lake, and something happened. I guess I lost a fish or whatever. Anyways, my line came back in the boat and somehow got wrapped around this. I had it laying on the deck of my boat, and this was last year. The line got wrapped around this. I don't know if I got mad and flung my rod or what, but anyways, this thing flew off the side of the boat and into the lake in the middle of the night. I dove halfway off the boat into the water trying to grab it, and I just could not save it. So I picked up my reel that my rod and reel that I was using, and started reeling up the slack, and I felt weight on the line. I had actually wrapped the line around this, threw it in the lake, didn't realize it, but my other rod and reel were still holding on to it, and I was able to fetch it back. Ever since then, the reel has been a little bit rough around the edges. I actually didn't take it apart, didn't lube it up because the reel is so old. I had actually been planning on replacing it anyways, but it reel's a little rough, and I never got a new reel for it, and it still works pretty good. So yeah, I'm proud of it. But yeah, actually, I'm gonna touch on this reel here. The Garcia Cardinal S40. I mean, it's been a really nice little reel. Smooth drag, before it took a dunk in the lake and didn't get cleaned. It reeled pretty smooth. It's been pretty stout, held up to everything. I'm running, I think, a 15-pound braid on it right now, and it's been a champ. So guys, if you are looking for a small, light, little tiny setup, this is a 6.6, like I said, I would highly recommend a Shakespeare Ugly Stik. They're cheap, affordable, and durable. Very durable. I like cheap, affordable, and durable. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer it. On to the next. So my next little rod here, rod and reel setup, this is actually my venture into bait casting and bait caster setups. I had never owned a bait caster setup before this. This is actually the very first bait caster I've ever bought. Very first bait casting rod I ever bought. There is a video that I made last year. It was when I first started doing YouTube videos. When I actually bought this little setup. I'm actually really new to bait casting, and I'm really glad I made the change. But this is a Fenwick Eagle rod. It is a 7-foot medium fast action rod, one piece. Guys, this rod right here, it cost me $60, I believe, for the rod, and it has been very, very, very nice. I've caught quite a few fish on it with variable size, anything from, you know, little tiny dink bass. You know, I've probably caught bluegill on it before, I don't even know. But you know, real small bass all the way up to you know, five-ish pound hybrid bass, which if any of you have caught a hybrid or a striped bass, you know how hard they can be on a reel. Usually on this, well, before I go there, I've got a Abu Garcia Silver Max reel. This reel is $40 or $50, I think. It'd be $50. Yeah, this is a really good, cheap little bait casting reel. I've got, you know, a couple bait casters, and they're at opposite ends of the price spectrum. And for the money, guys, you can't hardly beat one of these little Silver Maxes. I'm sure the Black Max is just as good, but I went ahead and got the Silver Max just because I liked it better. But you know, no complaints. It's small and easy for me to palm. I can palm it real easy, and that was one thing. You know, I didn't like a really big reel just because it was, I don't know, I felt like bulky and it was hard to learn. But you know, as a beginner, I picked this reel up, and I was able to teach myself how to use a bait caster with this reel and do it successfully. And now I use it. I use bait casters all 24/7. I don't use spinning reels hardly ever unless I'm doing something light like pan fishing. Pretty good, smooth drag. It's not as smooth as like the Shimano I have. Obviously, I mean, you're talking $50 versus $200 for reels, but you know, for the money, you really can't beat this reel, guys. And that goes for the rod too. I mean, you're looking at a $60 rod here, and that is for the money. I think that's a very, very impressive rod, and I will always recommend this rod to someone looking for a cheap little bait casting setup, or even a spinning setup. You know, this is my first Fenwick, and I had no experience with them before, and I really do enjoy it. And I don't use this rod and reel so much anymore, but I did start using it here lately, and I'm glad I picked it back up, man. I forgot how nice this little thing is and how cool it is. What I throw on it mostly is these little tiny square bills for hybrid fishing. I'll throw these little tiny square bills, soft plastic, stuff like that. Nothing super heavy, since it's just a medium fast action. I don't want to throw anything crazy heavy on it, like a big deep diving crankbait, nothing like that. But you know, for the lighter stuff, this thing does awesome. We're going in order here. We're not going by, you know, what I like most or what I use most often. We're just going based on the order in which I bought these setups. So this is my most recent bait cast setup. It is my G.Loomis E6X with my Shimano Curado 201 HG rod, or 201 HG reel, obviously. Anyways, this is a 7'4" heavy action reel. It's a swim bait reel. I use it for all kinds of stuff, as you can see. I got a little Texas rig on here right now. this thing is expensive, and based on my other rods and reels that you just saw, I like cheap stuff. This stuff is very, very, very expensive, and where it's not at the top, tip top of the price spectrum, it's still a very expensive setup. And normally I would never buy anything like this. The story behind it: a friend of mine, well, a couple of friends of mine, and I went up to a tackle shop that's kind of far away for their grand opening. They had this setup on sale. Basically, it was like $125 off if you bought the whole setup. For $125 off, I wouldn't be able to pass that up. So I picked this stuff up, guys, for a deal. And if you guys are interested in purchasing a really nice kind of higher end setup, or you just see this kind of deal that I got, definitely look into it. I had heard rumor that the eyelets on this rod were known to go bad, but no issues here. I've caught multiple fish with this rod and reel. I've caught my personal best on this rod and reel, which I have a video of just I guess about a month ago, maybe a little longer. I can leave a link in the description below if you guys want to check out my personal best. But I caught it on this rod and reel. The heavy, moderately fast action, it really did the job to yank that big old bass up on the shore. I'm using, I believe, 20-pound braid on this bad boy with my Shimano Curado. This reel right here, this is my first reel where it's got the internal brakes that you've got to open up and adjust yourself. And I must say, I really prefer this braking setup as comparison to the Silver Max, which is a lot more basic. It just has a knob on the side with your little twisty whatever stuff. But I do prefer this. I feel like you can really fine tune it a lot more. And I found that with this reel, I can have it set pretty much where I want it, and I can throw any lure on here from a tiny little Texas rig worm all the way up to a large deep diving 6XD or bigger, something like that, something heavy, jigs, and I don't have to adjust my reel. It just works. It just does work, and it saves a lot of time when I'm fishing, especially switching between stuff. And like I said, I use this. Some people might give me some hate for this, but I use this thing for everything. I'm more of a simple, have a few rods and use them for more than just have one rod for each setup. And that's just my personal thing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying, it's wrong, but that's just how I do it. But anyways, as far as the rod goes, highly recommended. It is a really nice rod. I like the looks of it. Nice cork handle. It's comfortable. It's light. It works. It's not as light as the Fenwick, but it is bigger and bulkier. As far as bulk goes with the reel, also very small. I can palm it very easily, and it's the HG, which is high gear. Basically, this thing will roll. Now, if you reel left-handed like I do, you're going to want to get the 201 because that is the left-handed model. If you fish with your right hand, you reel with your right hand, you're going to get the 200 Curado 200. That's going to be the right-handed reel. Same reel, it's just opposite sides. But 7:2 gear ratio, she does good. She reels them in fast. She reels them in strong. Ain't afraid to put a hurtin' on some fish with this reel. This is my go-to rod and reel setup, and it's for a good reason. This is a very, very good setup. I'm very proud of it. I love this thing. I spent a lot of money on it still, but no regrets at all. Now, recently, I have been getting into the pan fishing game, and it's just been here recently, and I decided, I could use my little ugly stick, but I wanted I wanted a setup that I could use strictly for pan fishing, whether it be crappie, bluegill, So I decided to go out and get a pan fishing setup. So here's what I come up with. I went to the old Cabela's and I got a Shakespeare Ugly Stik GX2 7 foot, yes, 7 foot 7 foot 7-foot ultralight. This thing is ultralight, as most ultralights are. It is a very floppy little reel, I guess you could say. It is a two-piece, but it's again with the quality of the Ugly Stiks, I'm still just amazed with how good these guys are doing, and for the price point of $40 for a reel, or excuse me, $40 for the rod. Yeah, I'm impressed. I love this little rod and reel setup. It has caught many little panfish and crappie, and I hope to catch many more. I don't think I've made a panfish video. So, as for the reel setup, I actually went to Cabela's and found these reels on sale for $40. I believe it's a Daiwa. I think that's what that little icon stands for. I don't know if you guys can tell me what it is in the comments below. That'd be great. I don't remember what it is. I think it's a Daiwa. Anyways, it's what I think to be a Daiwa Legalis 2500 SH, the 2500 series reel. Now, the reason I put this big of a reel on a panfish setup is simply because I already had this reel sitting at the house, just sitting in a box, and I didn't want it to go to waste. And I also thought that it would have been dumb of me to spend another $40-50 on a reel when I just had one sitting brand new in a box at the house, So I put this reel on it. I went ahead and got the Mr. Crappie 6-pound line. I went with a camo, mostly because that's all they had left in stock. But I'm glad I did, because I do like the camo line that they have. And yeah, it's just been a great setup. This reel, by the way, this Legalis 2500 is for the money. I mean, amazing reel for the money. Smooth as can be, super smooth, really smooth drag. Just, I don't know how to. It's amazing. Here's the issue: I can't find this reel anymore in the stores. I'm sure I could order it, but I really like this reel. And yeah, I hope to find some more, because if I can find some more for cheap, I will buy a bunch of these. Because I've got another one I'll show you on my next setup here. But yeah, overall the pan fishing setup is the Ugly Stik GX2. It's not the Elite, it's the GX2. The GX2 comes with the foam handles, not the cork handles, and I'm sure there's some other differences that I have no clue about. Rod is a great, reel is amazing, cheap setup. You're looking at $80 for the whole setup, and the line, Mr. Crappie line, that's like $5 a box, so can't go wrong with that. Does a really good job, guys. Highly recommended if you're doing any kind of pan fishing setups. That's what I would recommend. So I was at the store the other day, and I was looking at getting a new graph for the boat, and they're super expensive, almost $600. And she wouldn't let me buy one. So she said to me, if you want to spend money on fishing stuff, why don't you buy me a new fishing setup, whole rod and reel. As gullible as I am, and as much as I like to buy fishing stuff, I was like, yeah, we'll get you a new setup, it's gonna be great. So here's what I come up with. Well, she actually pointed the rod out, and I was like, of course. So we went with another Fenwick Eagle rod, and this is a spinning setup. Same price point as the bait casting setup. It is a two-piece rod, actually, unlike the one-piece bait casting I have. Brand spanking new, just got it the other night. Fenwick Eagle. This is I believe a 7 foot medium fast. Haven't used it yet. She hasn't seen the water. You might recognize this reel. This is the same reel that I've got on my pan fishing setup, the Legalis 2500 SH. Like I said, I bought a couple of them. I had this reel on another rod of mine, and it was a little cheap, you know, Cabela's $15 junk rod that I had just for someone who could come on the boat that doesn't fish much, and they wanted to fish. I had a rod for them. So I stole this reel off that rod and put that on there. I gave her some 20-pound braid to go with it because she's going to be doing some bass fishing and hybrid fishing with this. I felt like it's heavy enough to do some hybrid fishing, but also light enough to do some small, maybe pan fishing. We'll see how it goes. I tried to do the best all-around and easy to use pole that I could come up with, and she found the Fenwicks, and we got up at this 7-foot here. I have actually casted this in the old yard here and up the driveway a few times, and I must say I am super impressed with the feel of this rod girl combo here. I think she's gonna be really happy with it, especially where she's not huge into fishing. I think she's gonna be very happy with it. But yeah, the Fenwicks, guys. I love the Fenwicks. They're affordable, they're nice, and I love those Daiwa. I believe they're Daiwa. Just make sure you guys let me know in the comments. I believe that's a Daiwa reel. Those are awesome. The E6X G.Loomis by far exceeds expectations. Love it. And again, with the ugly sticks, them ugly sticks are mean, guys. Let me tell you, them ugly sticks are mean. They do work. Well, guys, that's all I have in the boat that I use for fishing. And anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little change of pace, a lot of talking, and I hope it was kind of educational for you guys, so you guys could figure out maybe what kind of rod and reel setups you'd like to have. And I'm curious, if you guys could leave me a comment in the comment section below, tell me what kind of good rod and reel setups you guys like. They're on the cheaper end. I'm always interested in finding what people like, whether it be, you know, Flugers or Fluger, Garcia, Shimano, whatever. Let me know what you guys think is a good, affordable, and all-around use rod and reel setup. Thank you guys for watching. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. I'll see you guys on the next one.